Creating conflict. I'm Karin Bury with Right Now Editing, where we turn good manuscripts into great books.
And I'm Peg Thomas, multi-award winning author and editor, and we're two editors for 5 minutes.
We're going to get this clock started and we're going to talk about conflict. Now, I think we've talked about this before, but if we have, it's been a while. So we're going to circle back around.
Because
And
conflict is story.
in researching some of the classes that I teach, um, was looking at some New York Times publishers. These are editors who edit books that regularly appear on the New York Times bestseller list. They work with some of the biggest names. And three out of four of them, when asked, what is the number one problem that they see with romance novels specifically, but this can apply. Three out of four said not enough conflict.
Hey, I got to tell you, I got my edit back on my current manuscript, and I got dinged for not enough conflict. So I'm working on this right now.
Yes. And so years ago, I remember watching on an email loop with some authors, and a gentleman kept getting comments on his writing that there wasn't enough conflict, but he didn't understand what that meant. So he was frustrated because he didn't like his book anymore because his characters were always bickering. There was so much conflict that he didn't even like his characters anymore. While bickering characters can be conflict, it is not the true heart of what it means to add conflict. So, Peg, when we talk about adding conflict, what are we talking about?
Is roadblocks.
Mhm.
It is something that stops the character from achieving their goals. So it can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be psychological. There's lots of kinds of ways that people can get roadblocks. Say a character has to go from point A to point B, right? A physical roadblock can be he runs out of gas or blows a tire or something along that, right? It can be an emotional roadblock because maybe getting from point A to point B is taking him back to his past that he hasn't faced in 20 years. It can be a psychological roadblock. Maybe he has a fear of driving. So
There's a
lots of
lot.
things.
There's a lot of. I always recommend authors start with at least two. If you're writing, especially if you're going to write within the Christian market, three. So you want an external, an internal, and some type of spiritual or moral conflict that is those are going to propel your character through the story. Now, one of the fun things that you can do is you can start your character with having a conflict, which you'll see this a lot in romance, conflicts an interior that might be they're not comfortable with relationships or they're worried about relationships, but of course it's a romance, so they're going to get into a relationship. So they overcome that internal conflict. So then you get to create a new one. There is no set number. Like Peg said, you can have the psychological, the mental, the emotional. There's no limit to how many conflicts you can have. And actually, the more conflicts you add, the greater the tension and the more reason to keep reading because like, well, how are they going to overcome this and how are they going to overcome this? But I generally like to recommend that you start with at least two, and one of those needs to be some type of internal struggle because that's character growth. And I
That's
don't think we've
character.
talked about character arc and character growth in a while, but that's really why people read
Yeah.
books. Even if you're writing, thrillers and stuff like that, you still want to see what the
And see,
characters do.
I love physical conflict because it promotes character growth.
Mhm.
Okay, here's this roadblock, and now they have to get over it. And that as well really promotes how do they overcome this physical something. But I write historical, so people who write fantasy, again, the physical roadblock is a big thing. Um, Pure romance, you're definitely going to use more the emotional, mental roadblocks than you are physical, but they're
Well, then
just
see, I
any kind of
disagree with
overcome.
that. See, I like to have maybe one, But what reveals character is how they respond to all of those external
Yes.
conflicts.
I had fun with one of my characters giving him an infirmity. He was lame.
Hmm.
That was a great conflict for him to try to get over, especially in 1763, where, life was a little harder there than it is now. So you can do things like that. That was like a built-in conflict that was wonderful to work with.
And we would love to tell you more, but
We're out of time
we're out
again.
of time. Yep. All right.
You
Well,
don't think,
come.
do you think anybody would want to come in for two editors for 35 minutes? No, probably
Oh
not.
my gosh. Do you think we could stay on topic for 35 minutes?
We can't stay on topic for five. They don't know how much you cut and paste these. So,
So much. So much. Until next week, I'm Karen Beery.
and I'm Peg Thomas. We'll see you next time.
Bye.